The Los Angeles Rams and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Welcome to another edition of the Chargerdude95 live stream as the two clubs face off from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. These two clubs have made huge moves, and especially the team from Los Angeles, the LA Rams, who come into this game, many project to be one of the premier clubs out of the NFC. And I'm even hearing throughout today that the Los Angeles Rams should make the Super Bowl. And that, to me, is a crazy, crazy statement. But welcome in live to the Chargerdude95 live stream as we bring you the LA Rams and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The intriguing storyline about these two clubs is that when it comes to the Steelers, many say they are the most talented team out of the AFC, and potentially the most talented team out of the NFC is the Los Angeles Rams. We already saw the Rams once in a live stream. Steelers, I have not done them yet. These are the up-to-date rosters as they stand this particular moment, this exact second, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the LA Rams in the Chargerdude95 live stream. We are ironing out the final few weeks, the final few roster movements, and then the NFL draft before May Madness begins. And we've got a good one on tap today as Los Angeles and Pittsburgh battle from Heinz Field. Ben Roethlisberger, a proven commodity and a two-time Super Bowl champion. Jared Goff, those were his numbers as a rookie, and as a sophomore, he was significantly better. We bring you to beautiful Heinz Field in an overcast afternoon as the Steelers play host to the Los Angeles Rams of the NFC. These are arguably the two most talented teams in football, thanks to the signing earlier today of the man you see on the left of the screen. Now he's gone. Number 94, Ndamukong. There he is right there, really quickly. And now Sue joins a defensive front that is arguably the best in football with Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, and you even throw in some talented men up front and Morgan Fox and Tyron Walker. This is a group that has some absolute superstars and potential All-Pros and even Hall of Famers on their roster with Aaron Donald and now Ndamukong, the $14 million man for this year, as Pittsburgh will kick off to begin the ball game. The beautiful uniforms of the Steelers, a bit of a throwback, and for the Rams, they go with the throwback bottoms as well. Chris Boswell not currently with the team, but the Steelers have no kicker, so I kept him on the roster. He belts it end over end, taken by Cooper Kupp at the 4. He's along the numbers, running ahead, breaks a tackle, and motors to the 30-yard line. A return of 26 for the former Eastern Washington Eagle in Cooper Kupp, who had a wonderful rookie year, but certainly none better in terms of an improvement from a year ago than quarterback Jared Goff, who after his rookie season going 0-7, throwing more interceptions than touchdowns, many were questioning about whether Jared Goff could be a starter in the league, but he turned it around in a big, big way after this hiring of Sean McVay. Now this quarterback is one of the best in football as the Rams made the playoffs last year and expect even more in 2018. And I love the move because now under the rookie contract of Jared Goff, you have some opportunities to sign some very talented marquee players as they did with Sue. A handoff to Gurley over the right tackle, and he is sacked up after a 1-yard gain. And then we have a quick injury on the field as we take a second look. That appears to be the Ram tight end, Tyler Higbee, the 3-year pro from Western Kentucky, as we quickly take a look at the Los Angeles starters. Jared Goff at quarterback, but the AP Offensive Player of the Year of 2017 is at tailback, and Todd Gurley, fresh off a stalwart season from Georgia, 1,305 yards rushing, 788 yards receiving. He is a workhorse, and for the next few years alongside Jared Goff, he should spearhead one of the best offenses in football. Los Angeles led the NFL. They led all teams in the NFL, yes, more than the Patriots and Eagles, more than the dynamic Steelers as well. Most points in the NFL. Goff fires to the right, the pass caught by Kupp, who's wrapped up after an 8-yard gain. The tackle by Joe Hayden, the all-star corner from Florida. 18 tackles and 7 deflections last year for Hayden. Glad you're with us on the Chargerdude95 live stream as we bring you the Los Angeles Rams with Ndamukong on the roster and the Pittsburgh Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, And a unit that does have some changes, not as many as the Rams. Goff unloads it left. A leaping catch by Higbee, who's back in the game, but is tripped up before the marker. Brought down by Artie Burns. The all-star from Miami brings him down short as Los Angeles, go figure, 30 points per game last year, begins this possession with a 3-and-out. And they'll have to punt. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, as mentioned, they haven't made as many moves as the Rams, but they still are a very talented football team. They acquired Morgan Burnett, former Packers safety, linebacker John Bostic. They did release safety Mike Mitchell, linebacker Arthur Moats, receivers Justin Hunter and Eli Rogers, defensive back William Gay, and tackle Chris Hubbard. Are you dizzy? Because I am. Those are some huge losses the Steelers have had to let go. Ben Roethlisberger remains with the team, and they hope that there's improvements that is made in other positions such as tailback and wide receiver. They certainly have gotten better at the defensive end with Bostic and Morgan Burnett. Those are two starters on your defensive front, and early on that unit forces a 3-and-out. We'll see how they fare in today's contest against the LA Rams. 1st and 10. Roethlisberger takes the shotgun snap, plenty protection, steps up, throws over the middle. It's dropped by Bell and incomplete. Barron on the coverage for Los Angeles. Pittsburgh has some dynamic skill position threats. 2 Pro Bowlers up front, Marquise Pouncey and Alejandro Villanueva. And then in the skill positions, Connor and Bell, the 2 tailbacks, Martavis Bryant and Antonio Brown, the receivers, and a very quiet tight end who had a pretty solid year, the 6-year pro from Rice, Vance McDonald, 14 catches, 188 yards, and a touchdown last year. Michael Brockers, number 90, part of that defensive front you see getting into his 3-point stance. He rushes the quarterback, a quick flip over the middle, caught by the safety valve, Vance McDonald, and he is taken down. It's a gain of 5. LaMarcus Joyner on the tackle. Los Angeles' defense with Joyner, they bring in Donald, Sue, and Brockers. Does that look pretty talented or what? Linebackers Barron, Hager, Abukum, and Longacre, certainly not as good as the defensive line. Then in the secondary, Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib, John Johnson III, and even they have a pretty solid safety in LaMarcus Joyner, which spearheads a defensive secondary that is just stalwarts. This may be a game where the first team to score wins. 3rd and 5. As the Rams have a nickel defense on the field. Roethlisberger takes a belt high snap, flips it quickly, caught by McDonald, who spun to make the catch and picks up the first down. The tackle by Bryce Hogger, the 4-year linebacker from Baylor, a former 7th-round pick who has emerged into a starter for the Rams at linebacker, part of this dynamic defense. Well, the LA Rams last year, they were top half in the league in points per game allowed, and they certainly played well against the pass. Their issue has been stopping teams from running the balls. Roethlisberger flips it right, caught by Bryant. He breaks a tackle, then is pulled down after an 8-yard gain. A healthy first down pickup off a catch and run from Martavis Bryant. Suspended 2 years ago, but had a bounce-back year for the Steelers. 50 catches, 603 yards, 3 touchdowns. Not half bad for the Pittsburgh receiver, who really plays more in the slot, garnering really about the 2nd or 3rd defensive responsibilities of an opponent in a given season. 2nd and short. Roethlisberger hands it. Here's Bell, who sweeps right to the 40. He is hit. 2nd effort. He surges ahead and picks up the first down. Le'Veon Bell. He is wanting to be the highest paid running back in the NFL. There are other players certainly deserving as well, but Le'Veon Bell has arguably been the best in the business for quite some time. The former Spartan of Michigan State, Le'Veon Bell. He did struggle in terms of the yards per carry. 4 yards an attempt, his lowest since his rookie season, but he's still one of the NFL's best. Offset eye, Nix the fullback. Bell remains the deep back on a 1st and 10. Steelers on the move. They'll feed it to Bell. He reverses field and is smoked after a 1-yard gain. A terrific Rams front, but that was the linebacker, or rather the safety, who made the stop. For the Rams, that's LaMarcus Joyner, the 5-year man from Florida State. Just underway, the Chargerdude95 live stream. Glad you're with us aboard here on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Nearly 4:30 on the East Coast. And for tonight's contest, the Steelers and the Rams, this could really prove just how good the Rams are. Here's a draw to Connor. He bounces off a tackle, but is wrapped up near the line. The Steelers may have a rough showing today running the football against this Los Angeles defense. And the storyline for the Steelers is whether they don't squander this incredibly talented football team. After going one and done in the playoffs against Jacksonville, this is a team that I can't help but root for because of the amount of skills that they have in almost every position. They are incredibly talented. As a false start will bring the Steelers back 5.
False start, offense.
But this Steelers football team has no excuses at some point. They haven't made the Super Bowl since 2010. They haven't won the conference in years. This Pittsburgh football team just simply needs to play better. I mean, they have squandered numerous opportunities. Them and the Packers, 2 football teams, one out of the AFC, one out of the NFC. I would argue they have, in the last decade, they have performed the least in the playoffs, given the amount of talent, as any team in the NFL. Roethlisberger on a 3rd down, dumps it off, caught by Connor, returns the corner, and is tripped up short of the 1st down. It's a gain of 8. There is a flag down. This could go on the Steelers.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense.
Oh, that goes on Los Angeles, Samson Ebukam. Now, a quick profile update for some of these Rams linebackers. Los Angeles, certainly some unheralded players there in the middle part of the defense. A 2nd-year pro from Eastern Washington, Samson Ebukam. He was coming from a man that was taken late in the draft, and now the Rams are hoping he can perform well as a starter. And thus far, he makes a mental mistake that moves the chains for the Steelers off a 3rd down. 1st and 10 from the 37 left hash. Single back handoff to Bell, who is spilled for a loss. Tripped up by Aaron Donald. You think that the Ram defensive tackle might have a better year than last? Donald, last season, the 2017 AP Defensive Player of the Year, and he may get even more opportunities now with Sue alongside him at defensive tackle. Michael Brockers is still there, and they also have some studs in the secondary, which I'm sure will be teeing off on those quick routes for Steeler receivers today. Roethlisberger to throw, scrambles left, evades a tackle, scrambles sideline, but is run out of bounds by Mark Barron for a loss. A loss of 3, in fact, delivered by the former Crimson Tide linebacker and safety, Mark Barron. It's been a quick-moving opening quarter from Heinz Field. The Steelers with a promising drive, some conversions by way of Ben Roethlisberger, and even a penalty by Samson Ebukam, and they face another 3rd down. They'll single up to the left, and Marcus Tucker. Roethlisberger to throw, scrambles left, guns it deep down the field. The pass is off the hands of his intended target. Looked to be Brown on the sideline and incomplete. Number 28, Marcus Peters, on the coverage for the Rams. That is Marcus Tucker, number 16. The Steelers have gotten rid of a couple receivers, and now Tucker may be thrust into the lineup as one of those slot wideouts in 2018 as the Steelers let go of Justin Hunter and Eli Rogers. 4th and 13, they bring in Barry to punt. Despite a terrific drive for the Steelers, he angles it towards the sideline, and he shanked that punt. A 17-yard effort for Jordan Berry, the punter by way of Eastern Kentucky, and that's where Jared Goff and the Rams take over on offense. Los Angeles, formerly St. Louis, they've made some changes as well, as the Rams acquired on defense. They're just ridiculous. Corners Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib, along with Sam Shields. Defensive tackle Ndamukong, and center John Sullivan. That is a quiet acquisition the Rams made as well, bolstering their offensive line. 1st and 10 from the 24. Deep back is Gurley. They'll hand it to him on a stretch run. He turns the corner, but is taken down quickly. It's a gain of a long 4 for Todd Gurley against the Steelers, minus Ryan Shazier as well. Sullivan at center, as mentioned earlier, but at the skill position, they have some stars as well. Higbee, Kupp, Austin, and Robert Woods. No Sammy Watkins for the LA Rams, as he was traded, but they still are a very talented offense. The Rams, they let go of Sammy Watkins, tight end Derek Carrier, and corner Tremaine Johnson. So they did lose something, but nowhere near what they gained talent-wise. Goff the throw, slings it over the middle. The pass is caught in traffic. What a grab by Josh Reynolds. The 2nd-year man from Texas A&M picks up a 1st down for the Rams. Speaking of Texas A&M, Johnny Manziel, the quarterback formerly from the Aggies, has been working out. He was right around my neck of the woods the pro day at the University of San Diego, and now working out at Texas A&M, which is another premier conference. Here is Gurley with some room to the 40, and he finds a crease near the first down to the 45. Todd Gurley is just short, as they'll mark him down inches away. Stephon Tuitt on the tackle for Pittsburgh, as the Rams may have just one more play before the end of this first quarter. It's been a battle of defenses, as the Rams have just one first down. I believe the Steelers with two, then one by way of penalty. Second and inches. Two tight ends into the ball game, as Gurley is the single setback, but Goff drops straight back. He flips it short, caught in a hitch. Here is Cooper Kupp, who's brought to a halt at the 49 of Pittsburgh. Gain of 6 to end the first. And through 7 minutes here from Heinz Field in overcast Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no team has even entered scoring range yet. 0-0. Welcome back to Chargerdude95's live stream coverage of the Steelers and the Rams. As the rosters stand today, there have been some movements all across the league, and many could argue the Steelers and Rams have been two of the biggest actors in free agency with their big movements across the board. The Steelers more for what they have lost, and the Rams for more of what they have gained. So this is certainly a tale of two clubs that may just be going in opposite directions in opposite conferences. Stretch handoff to Austin, and he is spilled for a loss. It didn't stand a chance as he was brought down very quickly by Ryan Shazier. I put him as the fourth linebacker, but for some reason, I mean, he's just that determined. He figures out a way to become a starter. So sooner rather than later, when this roster before Made Madness begins, for sure, I'm just going to release him. So there's no opportunity for this to happen, because as it stands right now, the Steelers staff has ruled him out for all of 2018. Goff unloads it deep right side off the hands of Higbee and incomplete. Terrific coverage by Ryan Shazier, and that brings up a 3rd and 12. And really, my heart just absolutely mourned for Ryan Shazier and the way that he was hurt, and that ball game where he was motionless on the field following that nasty hit that he suffered late in the regular year this past season. But he still is one of those linebackers that could come back and be those feel-good stories in the NFL. From the 49, Goff on a 3rd and 12. Great protection. He looks down the field, drops back. He's standing in the pocket, shoots it deep down the field. It's a diving effort, and Higbee makes the catch over Shazier this time. Terrific effort by Tyler Higbee. The 3-year tight end from Western Kentucky makes the catch over the outstretched Ryan Shazier, who simply was in perfect position to make the play, and Higbee just had a better efforts. Just over 6 minutes to play in the half. It's been a fast-moving ball game here from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, as we are still scoreless. Goff looks to throw with a 4-man rush, fires it deep, off the hands of his receiver, ripped away in the secondary by Joe Hayden. It's incomplete, intended for Mike Thomas of the Rams receiving corps, another youngster from Southern Miss. So the Rams, they're auditioning at wide receiver simply with some of these movements that they've made, getting rid of Sammy Watkins. As it stands right now, of course, you have the dynamic Tavon Austin in the receiving corps, joining Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. But after that, you've got some unheralded names as a Reynolds, as a Thomas, as a Farrell Cooper. 2nd and 10 with Woods motioning under tight end. Handoff to Gurley, who is buried for a loss. What a hit by Tyson Alu, the former Jacksonville defensive end, playing linebacker for the Steelers. And there at the defensive end spot, he makes the stop against Todd Gurley, of all runners, arguably one of the best in the NFL, the 2017 AP Offensive Player of the Year. It's crazy. The Rams have the AP Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year on the same football team. Deep drop. Goff finds a seam, scrambling left to the 30. Along the hash, he slides near the first down. And Goff is just inches short. Terrific effort of pursuit by way of Vince Williams, the former Seminole of Florida State. So interesting 4th down decision upcoming. Rams most likely will send out the field goal units. And indeed, Los Angeles brings out Greg the Leg for a 40-yard effort. Greg Zuerlein. That was Mannion on the hold. Sorry. Off the uprights, and the kick is no good. Greg Zuerlein missed it right. Boy, as his career turned after early on being recognized as one of the great kickers in football. 38 of 40 last year, and he was more of a long ball kicker as he nailed all of his kicks outside of 50 yards. So he was a terrific kicker, but he misses one from inside of 50 this time. And for Greg the Leg, many Rams fans hopes that he has a comeback season. Stretch handoff. Here's Bell to the 30. He makes a man miss, racing down the field, spinning, and is taken down at the 45. A maestro, Le'Veon Bell, with a brilliant run outside the tackle. It's a first down for the Steelers on a gain of 16. All right, Le'Veon Bell, if he can continue what's been a terrific start to his career, he may be one of the great running backs we recognize with a Barry Sanders and LaDainian Tomlinson in NFL history. First and 10, Bell is the deep back as he has yet to take a breather. It's a handoff to Bell. He runs into a wall and a slam down at the 46. A run for no gain. That is Sue with the tackle. Ndamukong Suh, the former Lion. He was drafted by Detroit about a decade ago. It seems to be an eternity ago. And for the Rams, signing a one-year, $14 million contract. The 9-year pro from Nebraska, 29 tackles and 4.5 sacks last season. Second and 10, a gut run. Here's Connor, cuts to the right, slips a tackle. Connor is loose. 30, 20, 15, 10. James Conner. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. 54 yards, and he bounced off of 3 Ram defenders on his way for a wonderful run. And the Steelers score the game's first points. Go figure, it's against that vaunted, revamped Los Angeles defense. He stiff arms Marcus Peters. He bounces off a John Johnson tackle, and then he simply outrun the remainder of the secondary on his way for his longest touchdown run of his career. The former Pittsburgh University running back. In fact, he didn't score a touchdown at all in his rookie year, but he certainly was a very important piece to that Steelers offense. The extra point attempt by Boswell with the hold from Jones. The kick is good, and the Steelers take a 7-0 lead. And for James Conner, his storyline is just incredible as he comes back from cancer and becomes an NFL running back. 7-0 lead for the Steelers. All right, for Pittsburgh, there's just simply no team better in the AFC recently, with the exception of New England, in terms of winning culture and success. They have gotten to the playoffs 4 straight times. They have won 2 straight division titles. And after a 3-2 start, which is pretty good by most team standards, they really turned it on. Pittsburgh won 8 straight, and they won all but 1 road game the entire year. Their issue, ironically, was their performance at home, but they've got an early lead here over Los Angeles, 7-0. Boswell, an end-over-end kickoff, taken out by Austin 3 yards deep. He has a convoy to the 20 and runs ahead to the 27-yard line. A 30-yard return for Tavon Austin with 3:39 left to go in the opening half. So now we get to take a look at the Rams offense with Jared Goff on a 4-minute drill. Goff, last season for Los Angeles, 62% completions, 3,804 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 7 picks. The numbers are solid. They're no Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger solid, but they're certainly serviceable for a team that hopes to make a run in the NFC playoffs. First and 10. Here's a handoff to Gurley. He breaks it out to the 30, 40. He gets a block to the 50, and Gurley down the right sideline is tracked down at the 43. What a run for Todd Gurley, the defending Offensive Player of the Year. First down, Los Angeles. And it's a gain of 29 yards. Williams saved the touchdown for the Steelers. All right, Todd Gurley, he may be one of the great running backs along with a Le'Veon Bell in the NFL in the future. So go figure, in a league where in 2018 teams are throwing the ball better than any other, this is a battle of 2 running backs. They'll hand it to Gurley again. He bounces off a tackle and motors ahead to the 40. It's a hard-earned gain of 3. The tackle by way of the former Bulldog of South Carolina State, Javon Hargrave. 2:52 left to go in the opening half. Glad you're with us. Presenting the Chargerdude95 live stream from Heinz Field, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's a 2nd and 6. The Rams on the move, down 7-0 to the Steelers. And they'll need the 33 to move the chains. They'll give it to Austin, who races left and gets out of 1 tackle before being belted down. It's a gain of 3. The tackle by Artie Burns. Well, the Los Angeles Rams, they got off to an electric start to 2017, 7-2, but slow to the finish. Lost the NFC wildcard game at home, 26-13 to Atlanta, but they hope to respond and have another stalwart year. The Rams, this was a team that made the playoffs for the first time since being a member of St. Louis in 2004. So they are very much unaccustomed to this type of success, but they are talented and ready to make a run. He fires over the middle. Tamark Hemingway makes the catch. Another South Carolina State Bulldog, and he picks up a first down, leading us to the 2-minute warning. Both teams with all 3 of their timeouts, as the Rams are just outside the red zone, as we will continue this live stream on Chargerdude95 with the Rams having their best drive of the opening half. Tamark Hemingway of the Los Angeles offense. The reason why I know Hemingway is because I was involved with the MEAC, and he was a terrific tight end. 1st and 10, the Rams just outside the red zone. Blast rush coming. He throws the slant to Reynolds, who makes the catch and is wrapped up after a gain of 9. Dupree was involved defensively, converging on the tackle, as Reynolds is close. Joe Hayden on the tackle for Pittsburgh. So Los Angeles is in the red zone here. They are, according to last year, one of the best offenses in football, leading the league with 30 points per game, currently held scoreless. And they have been held scoreless for just about 6 live stream quarters, as they were outscored 6-0 to Kansas City earlier. Goff to throw, just a 3-man rush. He has plenty of time, standing into the pocket, lets it go deep. It's into the hands of Gurley, but he dropped it, and it's incomplete. Burns and T.J. Hilton on the coverage for Pittsburgh. Mike Hilton, rather, the former Rebel of Ole Miss. 1:23 to go in the opening half. Pittsburgh scored on a 54-yard scoring burst by James Conner, the tailback from Pitts, who didn't score a touchdown at all last year. Woods singled up left, Reynolds and Cup to the right. Safety creeping up for Pittsburgh, as the Rams are looking to tie the game, and they have a longer road to come, as a false start will back them up 5.
False start, offense.
Pittsburgh's defense, many understand that the Steelers can score with anybody in the league, but they were top 7 in the NFL in scoring and in yards per game allowed. So they not only are a great offense, but the Steelers, with Ryan Shazier or not, they have the ability to win a slugfest. On the defensive side of the football, too, it's 7-0. The Steelers' defense is doing a solid job. 3 receivers again, that's Cup, Reynolds, and also Woods. Goff to throw with a 4-man rush, fires over the middle. The pass caught by Woods on a slant. First down, Los Angeles. Terrific first half by the Pittsburgh defense, but they're giving up some ground on this drive. Looking to avoid the shutout is Los Angeles. They have a first down and goal with just over a minute to go in the half. From the 7-yard line on the left hash, Woods to the left. They have 2 receivers right, including number 10, Pharaoh Cooper. And now Goff takes a shotgun snap, fires quickly. It's caught by Cooper, and who is taken down at the 1 timeout Los Angeles with 47 seconds to go in the half. These are how the rosters look right now, folks. And yes, Ndamukong is on the Rams. That's why I'm featuring this football team. That defense with Ndamukong, Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib, Sam Shields, all new faces on the defense, and the only player they lost was slot cornerback Tremaine Johnson. So the defense is better than last year. As far as the offense goes, they take a hit by losing Sammy Watkins, but you have to believe that Jared Goff will at least be as good as last year. Same story with Todd Gurley. Same story as well with the dynamic Tavon Austin. Pharaoh Cooper made the last catch, or singled up to the right on a 2nd and goal. They'll feed Gurley, who is smoked in the backfield. What a hit. And now the Rams use their 2nd timeout as Sean McVay is looking on. The Ram head coach, the former Redskin offensive coordinator, who has done wonders as one of the youngest head coaches in NFL history with this Los Angeles Ram recent project, now a superstar football team. Pittsburgh's made some changes defensively as well, acquiring Morgan Burnett and linebacker John Bostic. The Steelers' defense, as a result, pitching the shutout thus far, but the Rams are at the 4. It's a 3rd and goal. Both teams with timeouts to go, and certainly some game management is in the works for both clubs. during the final few moments before halftime. 3rd and goal from the 4. Goff to throw. He looks. He steps up in the pocket. He is under pressure. Pressured. Gets rid of it. It's loose on the floor and picked up by the Rams. One of their offensive linemen recovers back at the 18. The Rams had a 1st and goal. In fact, no, a 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line. Then go backwards and now have to settle for a field goal off the Jared Goff fumble. And now the Rams will have to settle. Here is Greg Zuerlein, who missed the field goal of 40 on the previous time out there. And now as the sun is beginning to set from Heinz Field, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Rams bring out the former product of Missouri Western State, Zuerlein, on to attempt a field goal about the length of a point after try. This will be a 35-yard effort. Mannion will hold it along the right hash to break the scoreless drought of 6 quarters in live streams for the Rams. The kick is on the way, and Zuerlein knocks it down. It's good, and the Rams trim the Steeler lead to 4. 32 seconds to go opening half. And the Steelers 7, the Rams 3. They have an opportunity here in the final few moments to potentially air one out down the field in hopes of getting a quick score before the half. This is the 6th live stream I've done here, Chargerdude95, here from Heinz Field. Seahawks beat the Eagles. Chiefs were winners. Packers were winners, along with the Chargers and the Patriots. And this is just a display of how the teams look right now. I mean, I don't know how the Rams are going to perform in 2018, but I'd say this is a very realistic result with Sue making some plays. Aqib Talib we saw earlier with a pass deflection. Here is Zuerlein, who kicks off for the Steelers, who look revamped as well. And over in kickoff, taken to the goal line. Fitzgerald Toussaint to the 10, along the left hash, across the 20. And it's wrapped up at the 31-yard line as the Rams converge, led by Marcus Peters and Blake Countess. 27 seconds left to go in the opening half. Glad you're with us. The Chargerdude95 live stream, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their only score came by way of a 54-yard gash by way of James Conner, the tailback from Pitt, who, alongside Le'Veon Bell, as he continues to develop, that's a pretty strong 1-2 punch the Steelers have going in the backfield. Roethlisberger rushed from the corners, flips it short, caught by Smith-Schuster, who explodes down the field out to the 47-yard line. 1st down, Pittsburgh. Juju Smith-Schuster, an all-star rookie, formerly from USC, makes his first catch of the opening half. And for the Steeler wideout, this may be a breakout campaign for him, as he is joined alongside all-star Antonio Brown. Schuster, 58 catches, 917 yards, and 7 touchdowns last year for Pittsburgh. 1st down and 10. In the second half, I'm going to disclose some, for those of you who don't know, information about May Madness, about what exactly I'm doing here on the Charger Dude YouTube page, and about what to expect in the future. 1st and 10 from the 47 along the left hash. Nickel defense, Rams rush 4. Roethlisberger sets his feet, scrambles, he finds a seam, fires, it's caught. Here's McDonald to the 30, and he is spun down to the 20-yard line. A 33-yard gain from Roethlisberger to Vance McDonald, the 6-year tight end from Rice. And for the Steelers, Roethlisberger has had a clinic today, but ironically, 0 touchdowns thrown by him so far. He looks to get on the scoreboard again. Steelers out of timeouts. This may be one of their final offensive snaps of the opening half. They are crossing fingers it's a touchdown. 1st and 10 from the 20. Pittsburgh, in a span of 20 seconds, has driven from their own 31 to the Ram red zone. Oh, they'll bring out the field goal unit already. Boswell, 35 of 38 on field goal attempts this year, the former undrafted rookie free agent. The kick is good. Steelers 10, Rams 3. And Pittsburgh went conservative on the final few moments of the opening half, so this very easily will be the score before we hit the halftime break. And with that said, let me tell you about Made Madness. So, for those of you unaware, Made Madness is a series I'm going to be doing in a matter of weeks that involves these up-to-date rosters. I mean, we see Ndamukong Suh on the Rams, but, I mean, you go across the NFL. How are the Vikings going to look with Kirk Cousins, now a member of Minnesota? Green Bay has been revamped as well. San Francisco, many are talking about them being a dark horse out of the NFC West. The Seahawks don't look as good. I mean, I can go down the list. Just about every team in the NFL, they don't know what they'll look like. As Austin returns from the 5, he has a convoy to the 20 and is taken down at the 25-yard line. The tackle by Sean Davis. So, I mean, the questions I will answer before the season begins, and it's in May. I mean, it better be in May. So, the 32 teams, they'll compete for the right to go to the postseason. Who wins the Super Bowl? Who wins the MVP? All these questions will be answered on the 2018 May Madness series. It's coming up. It's going to have a bit of a Sports Center feel. Going to have Game of the Weeks, which will be pretty awesome, along with interviews, along with updates, along with cool highlight packages, and just awesome stuff that informs you about what these teams will look like, who's going to win the Super Bowl, all the awesome stuff in the NFL. We're through 2 quarters, and Pittsburgh leads 10-3 over the visiting Rams of Los Angeles. As we look at the highlights, I'll let you know exactly what's happened with these 2 football teams in particular. So, the Rams went 11-5 last year. They had a fast start, but really hampered by way of just inexperience down the stretch of the regular year. Their first playoff appearance in 13 years. It ends with a loss to Atlanta in the wild card round by 14, a home loss, in fact, to the Falcons. And really, both teams were equally as talented, I'd say, even last year, but it was just a matter of experience. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons were far more poised to have that big playoff run than the Rams were, and as a result, Los Angeles just faltered down the stretch. Now, I will say this, watching that wild card game, the Rams, in my opinion, could have had much more fair officiating. I mean, we were seeing the catch 2.0 ruled a drop on one of those plays. It was a 4th down attempt. Goff throws a touchdown that was overturned because the guy makes a football move, decides to become a touchdown recipient, runs around, hits the floor, loses the handle, and thus it's an incomplete pass, which they have just ruled, the NFL has, that's no longer the case. But nevertheless, the Rams are a year smarter. They're a year more experienced. Jared Goff's a little older. He's seen the playoffs now. And the Rams are just a significantly more talented football team. In my best estimation, the 49ers were going to win this division. Weird camera. 49ers were going to win this division if the Rams didn't make these moves. I mean, 11-5 seems like an aberration to me. I mean, the Rams, they're talented, but they aren't ready to repeat that playoff run with another playoff run unless they make moves like this, unless they decide to acquire basically a brand new secondary with Sam Shields, Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters. They also, without Ndamukong, weren't even going to compete for the NFC Championship, let alone the Super Bowl. So this move and this season, to me, is the Rams' 1 or 2 last-ditch efforts in order to win the Super Bowl. As Pittsburgh receives to begin the 3rd quarter, it's taken by Martavis Bryant, who will take a knee in the end zone. And this score is indicative, in my opinion, about how the Rams fare against the best teams in the NFL. They're great. I think they're better than 3 points in the first half. In fact, I may need to tinker with some of these ratings because, to me, the Rams are better than this. But I don't think that they're Super Bowl bound right now. I think they need to make another move. Odell Beckham. Other big acquisitions like maybe Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, who's still hanging out in the free agent market. Here's Bell, who spins and picks up the Steelers' first down. Just 6 carries for 28 yards. He had 321 carries last year, an NFL high. People talked about Ezekiel Elliott and his heavy workload. Le'Veon Bell may have an even heavier workload over the course of his career, as the tackle was made by LaMarcus Joyner, a former Seminole of Florida State, part of a Ram defense that is very talented, but giving up some big runs in this football game here to Bell and Connor. But Bell is smothered, taken down for a loss by Ndamukong, his 2nd tackle. 1 year, $14 million. You think Ndamukong isn't fired up to prove that he is a multi-year contract caliber player? You think that he's fired up because the Jets rescinded their contract and the Rams at only $14 million were their best offer? I think he is ready to go. Single back handoff. Connor is loose to the 40. He spins, stumbles, and falls down to the 44-yard line. He ripped off a 54-yard touchdown run earlier. Number 54 for the Rams, Bryce Hager, saved what could have been a second touchdown for James Conner. As we are just underway in the third quarter from Heinz Field, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the sun has set in our primetime affair. The Steelers 10 and the Rams 3. Glad you're with us on the Chargerdude95 live stream. As Roethlisberger scrambles, he is loose to the 50 and slides at the 45-yard line, an 11-yard gain for the former quarterback of Miami of Ohio. It's a first down for Pittsburgh. And Ben Roethlisberger, he still got it. 15 years into the league, a 6-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and 10 playoff appearances in 14 years. This man is still very good. First and 10. Deep back looks to be Conner. Roethlisberger hands it over the left guard, and he is taken down by Michael Brockers. So, Mike Tomlin, the Steeler head coach, he's in his 12th season with the Steelers. 116-60 into the regular season. I will never dispute that he is one of the great off-the-field press conference talkers in all of football, and also is an incredible coach during the regular year. And the way that he has recruited these players is reminiscent of some of the great college football programs like a Nick Saban at Alabama. No knock about how he can coach, because he can certainly coach, as Bell is stacked up at the line, Mark Barron on the stop. You include the great college programs like, how about a UConn in women's basketball? How about a men's basketball, Villanova? But when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, talent isn't an issue. Regular season success and division titles isn't an issue. They won another one, their second straight last year. It's the playoffs. They're 8-7 under Mike Tomlin, and with the exception of that Super Bowl run, they're 4-7 as Bell spins and is wrapped up near the first down. It's close, and it looks to me that he is just a bit short, taken down to the 35-yard line. So for those of you that have been involved in the Chargerdude95 live streams, I may sound like a broken record, but this is a man of Mike Tomlin who has been severely disappointing. As Gavin Hill joins us along with the rest of our fans here at Chargerdude95 live stream, 52-yard field goal attempt on the way by Chris Boswell. Jones the hold. The kick is on the way. It's wobbling, but he drills it. The kick is good. And the Steelers add on to their lead. 3:36 left to go in the third quarter in a wildly defensive-minded affair. Steelers 13 and the Rams 3. So, big storyline coming into today is Ndamukong. How is he going to fare with the Los Angeles Rams? And as you see on the scoreboard, defense is not a problem, as the Rams are continuing to put together an absolutely solid year. I mean, this group, if they don't make the playoffs, that is a severe disappointment. But I hold the conversation of Super Bowl champs potentially, as Cooper Kupp returns out to the 23-yard line. I hold the Super Bowl talk because the Rams are just not there yet. I mean, it's as simple as it gets. I mean, Los Angeles is more talented than last year, but do you really think the Rams are going to be the best offense scoring the football in the NFL next year? I highly doubt it. So I think they fall back down to earth. I think Jared Goff is not 28 touchdowns and 7 picks, especially without a Sammy Watkins. And Todd Gurley, who was on a tear last year, winning 2017 AP Offensive Player of the Year. Gurley runs and is taken down for a loss of 3. The tackle by Stephon Tuitt, the former Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Cowboys and Redskins. That would be a very entertaining clash. But to me, we don't know quite yet what the Cowboys are going to look like, because yes, they acquired Allen Hurns at receiver, but what are they going to do with a Dez Bryant? Goff to throw. He sets his feet, steps up in the pocket. He is hit and taken down. T.J. Watt, the brother of J.J. Watt. He may not be as good as his brother, but he is a starting caliber player for the Steelers and registers Pittsburgh's second sack. All right, the Cowboys, they appear to be looking pretty different. The Redskins have quietly made some serious moves in free agency, and in my opinion are one of those dark horses for making the playoffs. 3rd and 18. Goff steps up in the pocket. He is hit, and yet again, this time spun down by T.J. Watt, his 2nd sack in a row. He's been on a tear on this possession, the former Badger of Wisconsin. He had 7 sacks as a rookie and is even better now in his 2nd season. Washington with Alex Smith at quarterback, Pernell McPhee at outside linebacker, the former Cowboy Orlando Scandrick, a 2-year, $6.85 million contract with the Redskins. I mean, that is ridiculous. He is a starter getting a backup contract as this return reaches the 34 by Antonio Brown. Redskins also picked up Zach Brown at middle linebacker. Their only huge loss, the Redskins, their tight end, Niles Paul, was pretty good, and he's gone. Spencer Long he's a starting center for the Redskins, and he's now with the New York Jets. But Orlando Scandrick at corner, Zach Brown at linebacker, Alex Smith at quarterback, and Pernell McPhee at outside backer as well. I mean, the Redskins, they've got some strong pieces. Rams, they've been stuck in neutral today. They have some strong pieces who are underperforming on offense. 1st and 10 from the 34. A delay handoff to Bell, who is chased down from behind. A gain of only 2 as Samson Abukum makes the stop for the Rams. Los Angeles may have to win games like a 13-3, like a 9-6. Games where their offense just isn't performing. I mean, no Sammy Watkins, that's a pretty big loss. And if I'm going to be honest, Todd Gurley in his first 2 years I thought was overrated. And I think he still is overrated. Delay handoff to sweeping Bell is tracked down for a loss. Now, he isn't a bust as Joyner makes the stop. He's not an absolute bust. But I don't consider him, AP Offensive Player of the Year. Antonio Brown had another 101 catches. He had another over 1,000 yards for yet another season. 1,533 with 9 touchdowns. I mean, he was pretty good, right? How about Tom Brady for Offensive Player of the Year? Roethlisberger fires to the right and overthrows his intended target. I understand he plays in the quiet Pacific Northwest, but Russell Wilson didn't win Offensive Player of the Year. I could name a half dozen players, in my opinion, who are more deserving. And that doesn't take away from Todd Gurley. He had almost 2,000 yards from scrimmage. That is hard to do. But when you receive the ball, when you count touches, rushing and receiving over 300 times, you're going to have a solid number of yards. As Barry sends it away despite nearly getting blocked. Bearcat signaled and made at the 14-yard line. He takes a hit. Does Tavon Austin no flag because this is Madden 18. But I don't see AP Offensive Player of the Year. But I don't know. I guess I'm wrong. I guess I don't have the credibility that some of these media members did. But if I did, Tom Brady is not recognized enough for being one of the great quarterbacks in NFL history. I would say the best quarterback ever, and maybe the best player ever, too. 1st and 10. Rams at the 14-yard line. They'll fake it to Gurley, and the throw by Goff is incomplete. And you also add in the fact that Goff had an outrageous season, so defenses couldn't tee off on anybody. And as a result, I would say that Todd Gurley, I think, falls back down to earth a little bit. Because there's nothing worse than any human, in fact, let alone a football player, being told that he's the best player in the NFL. 2nd and 10. 3 receivers. A gut run to Gurley. He is hit and taken down back near the line. He spins for a yard. The tackle made up front by linebacker by way of Kentucky, Bud Dupree. Zeke Elliott, if he wasn't suspended, I would say, thanks Gavin, that he also has an outrageous year. Ezekiel Elliott, to me, pound for pound, is every bit as Todd Gurley as a receiver, and also can run the ball, I'd say better. He's explosive. Todd Gurley, you look at his numbers in his first 2 years, they were dismal. 3rd and 9, Goff to throw. He unloads it over the middle. It's caught by Reynolds, who is wrapped up at the 47-yard line. The Steelers' pass rush was non-existent. And it's a completion of 32 from Goff to Reynolds. We're at the end of the 3rd quarter from Heinz Field. The Rams offense, a paltry effort through the first 3 quarters. They search for more rhythm as we begin the fourth. In prime time from Pittsburgh, PA. Steelers 13, Rams 3. The Rams played in Los Angeles on a live stream just a few weeks ago for Chargerdude95. Chiefs winning that game thanks to a couple interceptions by Kendall Fuller, the man that the Chiefs acquired by way of a trade for Alex Smith. 6-0. Goff overthrows Gurley. It's incomplete. Now, he maybe would have had 2,000 yards from scrimmage if Goff played a little better, but Goff still 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He had an outrageous year, but I think the Rams go about 10-6 next year, maybe 11-5. I don't see them as being world beaters, 14-2. You've got to remember, I mean, do you really think the Rams are going to pound for pound match up with Philadelphia and what they gave as Goff throws too wide and incompletes? He has put together 112 yards from the field today. They need a 3rd down and 10 to begin the fourth quarter from Pittsburgh. And, I mean, the Rams, you look across the NFC. The Vikings have an outrageous roster as well. And I'd say Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins. Yeah. 3rd and 10. Shotgun snaps to Goff with a 4-man rush. He is taken down for a loss. Cameron Hayward. 12 sacks for the former Ohio State Buckeye a year ago. And now he is, after a loss of 7, put together another incredible performance for the Steelers up front. The Rams feel compelled to go for it here as the Los Angeles offense has been stuck in neutral. Goff looking to get them out of it. Heaves it deep down the field. The pass is caught by Reynolds. And for the moment, he's got the 1st down. Could this be a roughing the passer on Ryan Shazier?
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense.
Wow. Well, Morgan Burnett, the guilty party, thanks to a huge completion on the previous 3rd down for Jared Goff. And here a 4th and 17 throw to Reynolds. Just 2 big plays. And Los Angeles is in the Steelers' red zone. They do not have to score a touchdown as Los Angeles trails by 10. 1st and 10 from the 19 on the right hash. Goff calls signals, takes the helmet eye snap. Here's a draw to Gurley, who is wrapped up yet again. 10 carries, 44 yards. All right, the Denver Broncos out of the AFC West, if they don't get the quarterback right, I mean, it's just, there's no worse living in football than having no franchise quarterback. And to me, if they don't figure out the signal caller, I mean, their chances of winning that division next year almost go by the wayside with the way the Raiders have made their movements. Los Angeles is a very talented football team. And then Kansas City. I think the Chiefs win the division next year. I mean, they're quiet. Their head coach, I mean, you may like him, you may not, but, I mean, you can't argue the success. I think everybody in the division are chasing the Chiefs, and unless the Broncos have a Peyton Manning, I mean, there's just no way that the Chiefs don't win the division. I mean, with the exception of just a miracle, in my opinion. But, I mean, we'll see, because Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback now, but their defense is vaunted. As Goff looks, he has plenty of time, steps up in the pocket, guns it deep down the right sideline, and overthrows his intended target. The pass intended for, looked to be Pharaoh Cooper. That was Morgan Burnett, the former Packers safety, on the coverage for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now is Tamark Hemingway of Los Angeles. 5:38 to go, fourth quarter. Steelers 13, Rams 3. As far as the NFC East, now that division's wide open. Washington could win it. I think Philadelphia ends up snatching that division, but, I mean, Washington's pretty good, and Dallas is talented as well. Giants are a disaster. Goff dumps it off to his safety valve. It's incomplete. Burnett on the coverage yet again, and the Rams may feel compelled to go for it. This would be a 40-yard field goal attempt. Zerline already missed one from 40, but he did nail one from 52. This would trim the lead to 7, and indeed they'll bring out the field goal units to trim the lead to 1 possession down the stretch of this exciting second half from Heinz Field. Out of the hold from Mannion, the kick, it's a line drive, and Greg, the leg, is right down Broadway. The kick is good. 5:29 left to go in the fourth quarter from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Steelers 13, Rams 6. The Rams led the league in offensive scoring last year at 30 points per game. They've been held to 2 field goals today. Zerline did miss another, but Jared Goff and company, in these 2 live streams, they've been disappointing. I thought the Rams would be a little better than this, but, I mean, simply put, they just haven't been able to muster up much on the offensive end. It's hard to believe this team led the league in scoring last year. I mean, you look at their roster, and to think that they're anywhere near the top of the NFL is crazy. As the kickoff by Zerline, it's a deep end over end kick. Sailing 5 yards deep, Fitzgerald Toussaint out to the 20. And Toussaint motoring ahead, breaking several tackles. A strong return out to the 27. Sets up the Steelers with pretty solid field position down the stretch of this second half. Pittsburgh's quarterback Ben Roethlisberger over 100 yards. But the touchdowns today came by way of a James Conner 54-yard scoring run. And then most recently for the Steelers, just trying to jog my memory. How did the Steelers score the second time? I actually forget. Sorry, I forgot who scored. It's been field goals since. Sorry, my bad. Quick brain fart. Deep drop, Roethlisberger settles for his safety valve. That is his tight end, Xavier Gimble. Pick up a 4 that time over the middle on his first reception of the ball game. 5:13 left to go, fourth quarter. Here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Steelers 13 and the Rams 6. As the winner of this game will certainly etch themselves an opportunity to potentially compete in the May Madness playoffs, and that would be a huge, huge boost, as many expect the Rams to have a deep run in the postseason in the real 2018 year. Bell slashing to the 40, makes the man miss, and is up ahead of the 45-yard line. What a run. The brilliant effort by Le'Veon Bell. And there was a big hole as well for the Steeler tailback. A gain of 14. Pittsburgh, with the way they've run the ball today, well, with the exception of that first half, the Steelers, they may want to just decide to keep this on the ground in an effort to win it on the offensive end. Pittsburgh, they could potentially never give the ball back to the Rams. Safety creeping up to the line. Let's see if Ndamukong Suh in the defensive line. Suh forces the fumble and recovers. What a hit. As James Conner scored the touchdown a minute ago, let loose with a football, and the Rams recover. How about that? In a game where Los Angeles on offense has been held in check, they get a short field here with a chance to tie the game against the Steelers defense that has lost some key pieces. Steelers letting go of William Gay at defensive back, Mike Mitchell at safety. They did acquire a couple of players, but this defense looks different. Let's see if the Rams can take advantage of the Ndamukong Suh false start, or rather, I'm sorry, forced fumble, false start of the Rams. Now the Chargers, to my knowledge, in fact, let me take a quick look. What's the Chargers schedule this year before I look at the schedule of also a couple of other clubs? Los Angeles, they've got some fascinating opponents in 2018. Home against, including their division, the Cardinals, the 49ers, on the road against the Seahawks. The Chargers do not face the Rams, but they travel here to Heinz Field to battle the Steelers. 1st and 15. Jared Goff, a deep drop. He unloads it deep down the field. Caught by Higbee on the run to the 30, and he is pushed out to the 17-yard line. Tyler Higbee, a catch and run of 31 yards, 11 after the catch. And the Rams are in the red zone with a chance to tie. That forced fumble by Ndamukong Suh looming large in the fourth quarter of this game. Higbee with 50 yards receiving. He has been a maestro today for the Los Angeles offense. 1st and 10. Deep back is Gurley. As they bring in Cooper Kupp in motion, they'll hand it to Gurley. Springs to the right, slips a tackle. Gurley spins, then is belted down to the 13. It's a gain of 4. So the Rams, let's look at their schedule. The dates and the weeks that these teams play yet to be released. But Los Angeles will host the Packers, the Vikings, and the Eagles, along with their division. And also on the road, they battle the Saints, the Denver Broncos, and the Oakland Raiders. Talk about a gauntlet for the Rams in 2018. Stretch handoff to the left. Here is Gurley, who is smothered for a loss. I'd say the Rams go 10-6, even with all the talent. 10-6. The Rams I'm sorry. I need to look at that again. They don't play the Steelers, but they do play pretty much every other elite team in the NFL. Quickly, Pittsburgh, their upcoming opponents, at the Jags, at the Bucks, including their division, home for the Chargers, and home for the Patriots. 3rd and 7, and, well, it's been about a play or two. I think it's overdue for a false start. Yeah, I said it, Madden. 3rd and 12. Seems to me that the Steelers have no false starts and the Rams have 4. Seems that every game, one team has a lot of false starts. I mean, you know, I'm just throwing comments out there. You can take it however you'd like. 3:20 left to go in the 4th quarter. Other than that, I mean, Madden 18. I mean, I'm not going to create too terrible of a narrative because Madden 18, for all of its flaws, it's still an incredibly good video game. Why do over 1 million people play it every year? Tavon Austin runs, loses the football, and the Steelers recover. Morgan Burnett, the Packer of last year, recovers for Pittsburgh, and the Steelers slam the door shut with 3:15 to go in the 4th. The Rams were hoping to come back, and Los Angeles is running short on time. It's not over just yet, but Pittsburgh makes it awfully tough. Tavon Austin of the Rams. No fumbles last year. Go figure. In fact, he had a career high 59 carries last year as mainly a running back as much as a receiver. 1st and 10. It's a gut run to Bell over the right guard. He powers through a tackle and rams ahead to the 15. Le'Veon Bell at 6'2", 230 pounds. As much as he is a dynamic slasher from Michigan State, he is equally as important of a thumper for the Steelers, as he can do it all. And for Pittsburgh, they have leaned on him. Steelers 13, Rams 6. Play clock, they've let it bleed all the way down to 3, down to 2. With an offset eye, they'll give it over the left tackle. Bell reverses field, then is hammered at the 17-yard line. A 2-yard pickup, and then a walloping hit by Michael Brockers, the defensive end of the Rams, by way of LSU. 3rd and 3. On the other end of the 2-minute warning, Steelers will try this 3rd down in a pivotal moment of this football game. A conversion here, and the Steelers would almost be in a one first down mode, yes, away from winning the football game. So 2 first downs away from the Steelers and winning this game over Los Angeles. 13-6. The Steelers scored down the stretch of the first half on a long run for James Conner. Then other than that, it's been their defense. We'll see if they can hang on to the football here for the final 2 minutes. A handoff to Bell. He bounces off a tackle and surges to the 23. He carried off the legs of Matt Longacre for a ride of 7 yards and a Steeler first down. Longacre, who also was an important piece of that defense. 5.5 sacks for the Rams last year. In fact, Matt Longacre had more sacks than Ndamukong last year. So, I mean, everyone's just going nuts over Ndamukong and how amazing of a defensive player he is. Matt Longacre of the Rams had more sacks than him. Just saying. Just saying. 1st and 10. First down here, and the Steelers will win. 2 tight ends in an I formation. They'll certainly give it to Le'Veon Bell, their terrific all-star. A feed to Bell over the left guard. He squirts ahead for 3 and is taken down quickly. Timeout, Los Angeles. Seems to be a pretty accurate representation of how the teams will play. Maybe a little more offense, I'd say. I mean, Pittsburgh, for the Rams leading the league in scoring, Steelers were 8th. 25.5 points a game. They're pretty explosive as well. And that includes the season finale where they played Cleveland and basically mailed it in. Landry Jones at quarterback. They didn't play Antonio Brown. So really, in 15 games, they were about the same scoring output as the Rams and put up 40, I believe either 35 or 42 on Jacksonville in the division round, where they inexplicably lost that football game to the Jags. Yes, the Jags were great. They almost knocked off the Patriots, but they inexplicably lost them in the divisional round. A single back handoff, Bell with some room, but is belted down by Barron after a 1-yard gain. A first down wins it, but the Rams are making this thing interesting. 1:48 to go in the 4th. Steelers 13, Rams 6. Los Angeles, with their big movements of Ndamukong, Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib, and Sam Shields. This group looking to hang on against the Steelers down the stretch. And don't forget about Matt Longacre. Don't forget about him. Four-year man from Northwestern Missouri State. Yes, 16 tackles and 5.5 sacks last year. 3rd and 6 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Le'Veon Bell, who has been a bell cow on this drive, the 33-yard line, and the Steelers can win the game. But this has been a thrilling contest. I don't want to see it end. Roethlisberger to throw. He fires it deep. It's caught by McDonald. First down Steelers, and Pittsburgh is going to win it. Wow, what a football game. And for Vance McDonald, he was very quiet in that second half. But as the Steelers, who are conservative a majority of that first half, they go for the jugular. Pittsburgh wins the football game. Now Roethlisberger lines up under center. No need appears. Single back handoff, and Bell is hammered at the line of scrimmage. That time the tackle by Ndamukong. 3 tackles for loss, 4 total, and a forced fumble along with the recovery. That's not half bad. Ndamukong last year with 29 tackles. He'll wear number 94 for the Rams alongside number 99 Aaron Donald. Pittsburgh to knee it. That's Ben Roethlisberger who sits on the football, and that'll do it. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with all the big movements by the Rams, many expect them to be a dark horse for the Super Bowl. The Steelers knocked them off at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh in a defensive affair. The Ram defense held their end of the bargain, but the Ram offense struggled, and as a result, Pittsburgh wins it 13-6. As we take a look at some of the post-game talks, Ben Roethlisberger, you bet. He wasn't very productive, but he made the big play on a 3rd down conversion with under 2 minutes to go, and the Steelers hang on for the victory 13-6. As we look at the scoring, Steelers jumped out to the lead thanks to the 54-yard touchdown burst by James Conner, and then hung on from there. Jared Goff, hot and cold in that football game today. His security blanket, Tyler Higbee, 3 receptions for 50 yards in the contest tonight. The Ram tight end in his 3rd year out of Western Kentucky, who was a real important piece to the Rams' playoff run in 2017. Pittsburgh got it going. There's the long run for James Conner. But really, this was a battle of the defenses. Ndamukong had a forced fumble and recovery in this game, and Aaron Donald made some big tackles as well. Le'Veon Bell held in check. The Steelers had 131 yards rushing, but all but about 60 yards of them came on one play. Here's some of the stats real quickly here on the Chargerdude95 live stream. Jared Goff, 12 of 20. Roethlisberger, 9 of 12. And really, I mean, this was a defensive affair. Le'Veon Bell, I mean, you're looking overall 3.4, 3.9 yards a carry. And then you include the fumble. Receiving the ball, it's Josh Reynolds, Vance McDonald, and Tyler Higbee leading the teams in receiving. Go figure, Ndamukong. Shazier, he's not going to play this year, so there's my bad. LaMarcus Joyner's a solid safety. Ndamukong was a stud. You include some of the big acquisitions made and how they fared for their football teams. Marcus Peters, 3 tackles for the Rams. He didn't do anything other than make 3 tackles, other than he really shut down Antonio Brown. Is that good enough? Morgan Burnett, former Packers safety. He had 2 tackles in the ball game, including a fumble recovery. Fumble recovery? Oh, yes, fumble recovery. Aqib Talib, John Bostic, Steeler linebacker. And then Chris Boswell, that hurt the Rams. And then just a couple punts, and the Rams and the Steelers in a thrilling live stream from Chargerdude95. It's Pittsburgh 13 and the LA Rams 6. The visitors had a chance to tie the game, but the Steelers slammed the door shut on that comeback effort, and none of my live streams have reached overtime, even though this one appeared to be awfully close. That'll conclude my coverage of the Chargerdude95 live stream from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in Heinz Field. Steelers win the ball game 13-6, despite a valiant effort for Ndamukong, Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, and the Los Angeles Rams. Until next time, that will do it for our coverage here. Some big movements upcoming across the NFL, and most importantly, it's May Madness upcoming. For the rest of our broadcast crew, good night.